Congratulations, greetings, dear colleagues, candidates, and the public. The advisory group of experts gathered in order to conduct interviews with candidates for the position of the judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine who are participating in competitions announced by the Committee of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine and the Competition Commission under the President of Ukraine within a week until January the 22nd. These interviews are part of the stage of assessing candidates' compliance with the criterion of high moral qualities. We will remind you that from May 22nd, 2024, the Committee of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine announced a competitive selection for two positions of judges of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, and on September the 20th, 2024, the AGE received all documents from the committee regarding all candidates. As of today, 14 candidates continue to participate in this competitive selection. In its turn, the Competitive Commission under the President of Ukraine announced competitive selections for three positions of judges of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine on August the 14th, 2024, and already on October the 18th, 2024, the advisory group of experts received all documents for all candidates under the quota of the President of Ukraine. As of today, 28 candidates continue to participate in this competitive selection. It is worth noting that some candidates participate simultaneously in both competitions announced under the parliamentary and presidential quotas. Such candidates will be interviewed once. After receiving the candidates' documents from the appointing entities, the AGE, in accordance with the requirements of the law of Ukraine on the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, collected materials and information about these candidates, including responses to inquiries to state institutions and organizations, as well as the candidates' own responses to written questions. I also want to remind you that one of the important goals of conducting interviews is to provide an opportunity to openly find out problematic matters concerning the candidates, not belittling their positive qualities and achievements, and also publicly dispel any doubts of their moral qualities if possible. So, today, on the 14th of January 2025, the advisory group of experts has gathered in full to conduct an interview with the candidate for the post of judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, Barabash Yurii Grigorovich. In particular, all 6 members of the AGE are present: Secretary of the AGE, Madam Maureen O'Connor, member of the AGE, Mana Hanna Tsukotska, members of the AGE, Mr. Vasil Shikun, Yaroslav Urmanyuk, and Alish Zalar. And also, actually, I, the head of the AGE, Oksana Vasilchenko. Also, during the interview, 5 deputy members of the AGE are present: Thomas Griffith, Richard Barrett, Marek Zubik, Vitaly Makinchuk, and Volodymyr Kuzmenko. I will note that we work in a shelter, so in the event of an air alert, the interviews will continue without interruption. I would also like to remind you that the interview is being recorded and broadcast live on the resources of the AGE and the CCU website. Therefore, I draw the attention of the members of the AGE and the candidate regarding the restriction of the use of sensitive data and information with limited access on the live broadcast. If necessary to discuss such issues, the AGE will limit the broadcast for this time. We are ready to begin, so I will turn the floor over to AGE Secretary Maureen O'Connor for short representation of the candidate and reminder regulations interviews. Maureen, please, the floor is yours.
And thank you very much, Madam Chair. Congratulations, dear colleagues, and everyone who was watching us this morning. As Mrs. Velchenko already said, now the advisory group of experts will conduct an interview with candidate Yurii Barabash. Let me remind you that the opportunity for an interview is a mandatory stage for evaluating candidates as part of assessing their compliance with the criterion of high moral qualities. Approximately 1 hour is allotted for interview, and the time limit for answering questions is up to 3 minutes each. Traditionally, we ask all candidates to be concise, to answer the questions clearly, unambiguously, and to the point. At the end of the interview, the candidate will make a short closing statement up to 5 minutes. I would also like to note that during the processing of materials about the candidate Barabash, the AGE sent him questions for written explanations so the candidate had the opportunity to prepare and provide answers. So, now with us is a candidate for the position of Judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, Yurii Barabash, who was admitted to competitive selection at the same time by the Committee of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine and the Competitive Commission under the President of Ukraine. Mr. Barabash is a Doctor of Law, Professor of the Department of Constitutional Law of Ukraine, and Vice Rector for Scientific and Pedagogical Work and Strategic Development of the Yaroslav the Wise National University. He also works as an academician secretary of the Department of State Legal Sciences and International Law of the National Academy of Legal Sciences of Ukraine and is the chairman of the Scientific Advisory Council of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. In 2009, he defended his doctoral dissertation on the topic State Legal Conflicts at the Current Stage of State Building Constitutional Legal Aspect. In addition, let me remind you that Yurii Barabash already participated in the competitive selection last year and was interviewed by the advisory group of experts. Mr. Barabash, if you want to add something to your presentation, you can do it now within 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes.
Thank you, it's enough.
So, colleagues, please ask Mr. Barabash the questions. Who will be presenting?
Я буду поки що.
I will do it for now. So, dear Yurii Grigorovich, you combine different areas of work. In particular, Vice Rector for Scientific and Pedagogical Work and Strategic Development as your main place of work, and Professor of the Department of Constitutional Law of Ukraine, part-time, at Yaroslav the Wise National University of Law, and also Academician Secretary of the Department of State Legal Sciences and International Law of the National Academy of Legal Sciences of Ukraine on a part-time basis. And you also carry out scientific and expert activities. So you participate on work on grant projects. So the question is, how do you manage to organize your work? So this question may seem as very simple, but actually it has reasonable grounds. And you know that during the past years, 2 state institutions of the financial monitoring and the accounting chamber of Ukraine were checking the work of the National Academy of Ukraine, National Academy of Legal Sciences of Ukraine, and they have provided certain comments stating that there were certain violations in relation to part-time work of the academicians. Well, first of all, I would like to greet all of you. Sorry for my cough. So, in regard to your question, Mr. Vasil, I would like to focus on my scientific and pedagogical work and strategic development, where I am a vice rector. And you were quite right that I have 2 positions, part-time positions. The first one, the professor of the Department of the Constitutional Law of Ukraine, it's part-time and envisages fulfillment of 2 main duties, that is teaching of the regulations course on the Constitution of Ukraine twice a week. This is the first year students, second semester who go for bachelor degree, and the first semester of the second year students. This training course is not long lasting and it doesn't distract me from my main work. Second part-time job, and that is the consultation, the scientific consultation of the graduate students. I do it in my after work time. because I'm providing consultations, and I'm also processing the prepared by them materials, and we do this in the remote mode, and it's convenient for both parties. As for the my duties of the academician secretary, and the first task is to coordinate the activity of the members and participating in the meetings once a month, and it doesn't distract me from my main work, and it doesn't break or violate my or breach my work, and I had no complaints against this. The scientific and expert work that I conduct lately has been focused on the team of the Svetlana Tikhanovska. I work per inquiry of the International Institute for Democracy. I participate in preparing draft laws. Every Thursday we have meetings, online meetings at 9 p.m., and this can be confirmed. And lately we have prepared 3 draft laws. One of them has been presented at the conference in the European Parliament. That's in brief. Thank you. And tell us, please, how many graduate students do you have? And how many hours a month does it take you to do this job, to supervise them, this scientific expert work? As for the consultations for the graduate students, I exercise such constitutions for 5 graduate students, and 2 of them are in the academic leave. I cannot say how many in total I have, but it's 300 hours per year for these consultations. But it may be 6 to 10 hours a week, but outside of my work schedule, and I do it remotely. I see, thank you. Mr. Alish, please.
I would just continue where my colleague ended, because Mr. Barabash, good morning. You are a candidate for a position of a judge of the Constitutional Court. Obviously, you're very active at the moment. How you plan to reduce the work you are engaged in now in case that you would be elected as a Constitutional Court judge?
В разі призначення чи обрання
Thank you for your question. If I'm appointed or selected as the judge of the Constitutional Court, I will focus only on the work of the Constitutional Court. I will not think that it's urgent to combine it with other type of activity. I will not combine it. Apart from the scientific work, of course. That is to be an important component for the professional development of any legal expert.
I have another question, and this actually relates to the question we tried to clarify within the previous competition, and it relates to the publication by you as a co-author of the article on the topic named Certain Issues of Guaranteeing the Electoral Rights of Citizens. And this publication was published in the scientific and legal journal Legal Novels. And you indicated with appropriate justifications that you learned about the existence of this article in this publication for the first time from a request from the advisory group of experts, and that neither you nor your late father have any relation to aforementioned publication. So my question is, have you managed to finally clarify the circumstances of the publication of this article on these topics in the scientific and legal journal Legal Novels? And if so, please indicate the results of the measures you took.
після
After the previous competition, this question was dropped out of my eyesight, and after I was reminded by the honored members of the ADG, I have contacted, of course, the editorial office, and I have provided this as the written answers. And the result is that the editorial office of this publication, they have informed it that for now they cannot find out the reasons for this, because those employees who were in this edition until 2017, they're already fired. So they have just managed to delete this article from this journal.
Another question, which relates to your previous declarations. As part of the previous competition, the advisory group of experts pointed out a number of typical errors in your declarations, which were not significant, but which you made during the declaring. However, in the last declaration, you managed to avoid these errors and display all the information completely correctly. With this in mind, have you contacted the person authorized for the prevention of corruption at Yaroslav Device National University of Law, where you work, and the National Agency for the Prevention of Corruption regarding advising you on the correctness of filling out the electronic declaration during the last year? So have you contacted these persons?
Я хотів подякувати.
I would like to thank the advisory group of experts for this remark during the previous competition. Yes, I actually referred during filling out the last declaration. I have contacted, of course, the Natalia Smetanina, and also communicated by means of the electronic email with the National Agency on Corruption Prevention, and then advice of the members of the ADG and the members of our authorized unit. They helped me to avoid these mistakes.
Barabash, I have no further questions.
Dear colleagues, do you have any questions for this candidate?
Так, дозвольте.
Please allow me. Yurii Grigorovich, so I have read your motivational letter, and you point out that in the conditions of counteracting the armed aggression by the Russian Federation, the Constitutional Court of Ukraine becomes an important tool of protection of independence and territorial integrity. In your opinion, what exactly can the Constitutional Court of Ukraine do to protect, to defend the territorial integrity of Ukraine? Thank you for your question. I would like to mention that the constitutional values, which independence, territorial integrity, and the human rights, are those criteria that the Constitutional Court is being guided during verifying the amendments or laws for the Constitution. I am convinced that we will have difficult times for the Constitutional Court when we'll be getting closer to peaceful times. I believe in our victory, but I have a realistic view on the situation, and these processes will have the Constitutional Court engaged, because I'm sure that some of the matters will be placed in the dimension of amendments to the Constitution. These are the criteria the court is to be guided by. Thank you so much.
Okay, I understand there are no more questions. Mr. Barabash, you may make a short closing statement. You take up to 5 minutes, and then we will finish the interview. Please.
Thank you, dear colleagues. I would like to thank the members of the advisory group of experts for organizing and holding a transparent and objective competition. This was one of the reasons why I decided to, participate again for the position of the Constitutional Court judge. And I would like to say that my experience, knowledge, competencies, and proper level of support by the legal community and recognition of my expertise, they can have the value added to the position of the judge of the Constitutional Court. And also, I would like to note down that recently the General Directorate of Human Rights and Rule of Law of Council of Europe, I was selected as members of the international experts who consult on the expert consultations on the constitutional justice. So thank you one more time for this opportunity.
За ваші відповіді.
Thank you, Yurii Barabash, for your answers. At this point, the interview with Barabash Yurii is over.